Hey, this is Brookes with Character Design Forge. I'm asking you the question, what are your goals? Because we're at the point at the beginning of a new calendar year where people are a lot of times thinking about the future, about bettering themselves, and I want to motivate and inspire you a little bit, but not with just platitudes, empty, be the best you, go out there, nothing can stop you kind of stuff, because ultimately that will leave you feeling like, what do I do now after all the laser and smoke show stuff is cleared? And at some point during that, I've stolen your popcorn. So, the main thing that you see with a lot of goal setting that people do is the goals are too vague or broad in concept, right? So something with increments, but no finish line to them. So you might say, well, I want to work out more, I want to lose some weight, good goals to have, but where's the finish line? What do you point to and say, hey, I accomplished the goal? So for you in the art and story and design aspect of things, you might set the goal that, hey, I want to draw better backgrounds. Good goal to have, but how do you measure it? Well, this is my first piece of advice for you, is to have something tangible, a finish line, a finished product or project that your goal results in. So as you're improving your drawing and backgrounds, make your end goal a series of illustrated backgrounds. There are three kinds of goals you can make: learn, accomplish, or achieve. And a lot of times your goals can be a combination of these three things. With a learning goal, you're looking to improve or do something new that you haven't done before. With an accomplish goal, you're creating something, starting and finishing a project. And the third, an achievement goal, is where you're actually looking for something external, some form of validation, right? So a job position or a living in exchange for your work, an award, things like that. This is a pretty simple thing. With any goal that you make, start with that finished, tangible thing and walk it back to where you are now in order to figure out what things in what order you need to do. Reverse engineer your goals so that you know what to do next. It's really valuable to set goals that are 1 month away, 3 months away, 6 months away, a year, or even 5 years away. And honestly, having one of each is really helpful. One in the short term, one in sort of the mid-range, and one in the long term. And maybe allowing them to compound on each other. The 1 month builds toward the 5 years. So with each of these goals, start with that end product, that end tangible thing, and reverse engineer them back to where you are now, and set a hard deadline. That's the way that these are really going to get done. Otherwise, time can tend to float away. So combining these ideas, if you had that earlier goal of drawing better backgrounds, well, what could you do? Well, as you're learning and studying other people's backgrounds and landscapes, figuring out composition and things like that, what if you made the goal to have a finished series of 9 illustrations in a month, or 3 in a month if that's too many? I actually like this idea a lot, and I'm tempted to try it even though I don't have the time. What if you did a series of 9 illustrations that were all based on like an old platformer game's biomes, right? So you have a finished illustration of a jungle level or area, right? An ice level, a lava, a swamp, a desert, a cake, right? All of those things. And now at the end you have a finished product. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? But the end goal was to improve, and now you can point to that set of illustrations and say, look, I improved. Now that I've talked about setting hard deadlines for things, it's time to talk about the harsh reality that comes with planning out how long a project will take. Oftentimes, you need to add at least 50% more time than you think will take, because we don't know all the factors, all of the little delays and complications that will come up as you're reaching that end point. So it's really good then to make your goals manageable. And especially if you're starting out or stepping into a new arena you're not used to, it's really important that you make your goals as simple as possible. And the reason for this is goals tend to snowball in either direction. If we can start with something small and finish it, then we get really proactive, right? We're positive we can move forward and snowball towards something bigger and bigger as time goes on. But if we start out with something huge and we fail, we have vague deadlines, we're not really sure what's happening, then we tend to get discouraged, and that snowballs in the other direction where we don't get anything done. I see a lot of goals that people will set to work for an animation studio, maybe even a specific company or studio, and that's a good goal to have. Those are definitely achievement goals, right? There's validation involved in it. So I want to ask you two things if you set goals like that. One is, what could you do to make yourself the prime hire for that studio, right? It's something external, so you can only affect and change yourself and improve your side of that situation. Another kind of second side note I want to ask is, what reason do you have for wanting to be hired at that specific studio? Is it sort of the idea of that studio? And what would you do or could you do to be happy if that didn't work out? So I'd like you to do this now that you're thinking about your goals, and I'd even love to see them as comments underneath this video if you're open to sharing them. What are 2 or 3 goals that you have in the short term, 1 month, 3 month or 6 month, a year, 5 years away? What is the next step on each of these things? And if you didn't already have sort of a tangible end product for each of these goals, what could you set in order to measure that? Now for me, I really need to simplify down the amount of goals that I have at a time, otherwise I really can't get any of them done. And as far as the ones that I can share, in the short term, there's really 2 that I'm working toward. One is finishing up my parcel comic, which is going to be ready in just a few weeks for you guys to take a look at. But I also want to be doubling the amount of videos that I put out a week on this channel, which is excluding character select episodes. So that's something that I'm working toward myself. I'm also just now thinking of this, me saying that out loud to you guys is another strategy that you can be using. Either publicly commit to a goal or have someone as an accountability partner, right? A friend or someone who's really going to keep you on task with this thing. Tell them, hey, I'm looking to accomplish this thing by this point. You could even put in or build in some amount of punishment to yourself. I don't know, that's up to you. But a lot of times it helps to externalize the goals to another person and say the date that you're working toward. Just sharing ideas that you have with other people by itself tends to be counterintuitive, because it's almost like saying, okay, I have an idea for this story, right? And you just share that. It actually tends to work out where you feel like you've accomplished that, like just sharing the idea was enough. So be careful about just doing that, but tell people, listen, I have a month to finish this thing, please check in with me, something like that, and I'm sure you can find someone that can help you with that. If you're looking for some art, story, or design help with your work specifically, in order to meet some of these goals, you can get a personalized, at least 5-minute in length video from me, critiquing and helping you with your work at the new Novice Bard tier on Patreon. It's a great way to support me and get something really proactive in return, along with all of the other rewards that come on Patreon. I am immensely grateful to everyone who's been helping me out there, helping make all of this possible, helping me to make more things for you guys. I'm just really excited and hopeful moving into these next few months, and I really hope you are too. Thank you so much for watching, and have fun creating.